Okay, we're good to go.
Okay, thank you. So this is a regular meeting of the Community Development Commission. Today is Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. Seeing a quorum, this meeting is officially called to order. Madam Recording Secretary, please take roll call.
Roy Afusia, Winston Covington, Vince Frazier, Gilbert Vasquez, Ana Cani Torres,
Here.
Dang Le, Dang Le,
Here, sorry, guys, it went mute.
thank you. Irlanda Martinez, Irlanda Martinez.
Here.
Thank you. Thank you. And Richard Santana and Jennifer Oliva.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. So please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, members of the public may address the Community Development Commission regarding any non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the committee. No action may be taken on non-agenda items unless authorized by law. Does the public have any comments they wish to share with the commission? And please know that you have 3 minutes to speak. Do we have any members of the public that want to provide comment?
I admitted the ones that were in the waiting room, but I'm not sure if they are going to do any public comments.
Okay, so if no public comments, then we can move forward with the consent calendar. This is time for the commission to consider matters under consent calendar, item 1. Do I have a motion to consider item 1?
I make a motion to consider item 1.
Thank you. Any seconds?
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no.
As a technicality, since we are doing this through Zoom, it does require a roll call
Oh,
vote.
right.
Yes.
Thank you, Bianca. Madam Secretary, can you please take roll call for the votes?
Sorry, I was muted. Commissioner Afusia, Commissioner Covington, Commissioner Frazier, Commissioner Le, Commissioner Martinez,
Aye.
Commissioner Oliva,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana, Commissioner Torres,
Aye.
Commissioner Vasquez, Commissioner Le.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Matter approved by unanimous consent. And now we'll move on to the work study session. We have one work study session. Please note that there will be no motion or action taken on this item. The item on the work study session is Community Development Commission, Powers, Duties, and Responsibilities Training provided by Legal Counsel Ryan Hodge. I'll leave it to you.
Great, thank you. Let me share my screen real quick. Hopefully this works. Let's see here. Does that look correct? I am not sure why I cannot see what I'm trying to show you guys, but
We see the presentation, Ryan.
okay, great. Thank you. And just the slide, or do you see the full thing?
We see just.
Go ahead,
slide.
Jetson.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's how I wanted it. I'm always amazed when it works out correctly. So,
We see just the slide. Do you want to do full screen?
oh, is it not on full screen?
No, it's not on full screen. I think you've got to share the full screen slide.
You
I
can do
knew I would miss
F5.
F5. Thank you.
Or did I get that wrong?
You can try on the bottom right. There's a projector icon.
There we
And
go.
then
That work better?
And then you'll switch it one more time. So you want, that's your left screen or whatever. You want to do the other screen.
Okay. So how do I get it back over there?
Try escape. And bottom left, bottom right. Oh,
Let me try that again. Does that look better?
No, it's
Still the
still
wrong
the,
one?
it's still the slideshow mode.
Let me go back in here. Let me start afresh. Sorry about this, everyone. I promise it'll get better after that.
It's always hard to get it. The way I've done it is I'll do the full screen and then I'll go share and then I'll go to the screen that shows full screen.
Yeah, I've got it up where it looks like it's sharing it and then it's not. Okay, this should be 3. Oh, I see. Okay. I'm under pressure here. Well, if this isn't, oh, here we go. Okay, let me try this. How's that look?
Hey, you got it.
All right, so here we go. Now, Bianca, you weren't recording that whole time, right? You stopped it for me?
Unfortunately, it's all recorded.
I'm just kidding. That's all right. All right, so here we go. So I'm here to give a presentation on the Community Development Commission powers, duties, and responsibilities. This is a training session. I've given a few times, so past commissions may have seen this, or commissioners who've been on may have seen this. I think the last time we did this was the fall of 2019, but we do have several new commissioners here, so this may be new to you, and we will get started. So the purpose is to go through basically what the authority of the commission is and what your duties are as commissioners. Also going to go over the meeting procedures pursuant to the requirements of the Brown Act. Also going to review quickly some legal and ethical considerations of being a commissioner, and then also discuss some of the best practices for both the meetings and for just you serving as a commissioner and your interaction with each other, staff, and the public. So the Community Development Commission gets its authority from the Municipal Code, the San Antonio Municipal Code, under Section 2-621. And this Community Development Commission, which previously was known as the Community Redevelopment and Housing Commission, CRHC, was created to serve both in a capacity as a Community Redevelopment Commission and a Housing Commission. So as many know, the redevelopment agencies were dissolved. It's been nearly 8 to 10 years ago now when they started the process of dissolving those commissions. So since that time, there's been an extreme reduction in the amount of items that were related to the redevelopment commission. However, they are still in the process of dissolving those commissions, and so technically the community redevelopment law still exists, and the community redevelopment commissions are still in the code section, so we still keep that as one of the kind of capacities for this commission. However, we haven't had any items for community redevelopment in some time, and you know, I don't anticipate that we will have any anytime soon, because most of the actions to kind of wind up those redevelopment agencies go through the countywide oversight board. So the majority of the items that will come before the Community Development Commission are when it serves as a housing commission, pursuant to 34-291 and 34-292 of the Health and Safety Code. So essentially, what the commission does in those items is to review and make recommendations on matters that go before the housing authority, except for any emergency matters or matters that have been excluded by a housing authority resolution. So in Santa Ana, the housing authority is actually the city council members. It is a separate agency or a separate board, but it is all of the city council members that serve on the housing authority. And so you'll notice that the housing authority meetings are typically the same night as the first city council meeting of the month. So then getting into some more of the details of the Community Development Commission, sections 2-621 and 626 define who the commission members are for the commission. So 621 notes that there are 7 community development commissioners, so one from each ward in the mayor's selection. And then 626 also appoints 2 tenant commissioners anytime the commission is serving as a housing commission. And that includes 1 senior tenant. Those tenant commissioners will serve just when it's serving as a housing commission, and they can only vote on those housing matters. The commission also has a spot for a student commissioner who is, right now I don't believe we have one that's appointed, but when there's a student commissioner, they are able to participate in the meetings and to voice their opinions and give their valuable insight. However, they are non-voting members of the commission.
I'll interject here really quick with an update on our student commissioner. Since we brought it up here, we did reach out to Santa Ana USD for a student commissioner, and they have recommended one to us, and so that student commissioner is currently filling out the application with our clerk's office, and we hope that they will be appointed possibly at the next city council meeting or the city council meeting at the end of April. But we are on track to fill our student commissioner seat.
Great, thank you, Judson. And thank you for a reminder too. If anyone has any questions, comments, anything during this, please feel free to shout it out or raise a hand or whatever you're comfortable with. Let me know. This is free flowing, so no need to save questions till the end. So moving on, getting into the nitty gritty of the municipal code and some of the requirements for the commission. Section 2-624 talks about property interest and actually has a requirement that commission members are prohibited from acquiring interest in property included within project areas. Now, again, this is kind of a holdover from the redevelopment commission days, because the redevelopment agency had project areas where they would focus on, trying to put resources or bring projects within certain areas. And it was an attempt to make sure that there was no conflict of interest between the commissioners and what the redevelopment agency was doing. Again, similarly, 625 talks about financial interest, saying the commission members have any direct or indirect financial interest in any property included within property areas. They are required to disclose that to the city council. If you have any questions on that, you can always reach out to me or to staff, and we can assist you with that. However, again, that's kind of a holdover from the redevelopment days, or it's unlikely that would come up in any of the projects that are being brought forward to this commission. More prohibited interests. I promise it's not all prohibitions, but 627 also talks about commissioners not having any direct or indirect interest in housing projects, contracts for materials or services for a housing project. And if any such interest exists, again, a written disclosure to City Council, your housing authority, or reach out to staff to discuss that so that we can make sure the proper disclosures are made and make a determination whether or not there's a conflict of interest. So then getting away from the municipal code, turning to the bylaws of the commission. The bylaws basically lay out the procedures for the meetings and how these meetings will be run. And so the general categories for the bylaws, there's an explanation of the commission, some rules regarding the elections, how the meetings will be run, and then commissioner conduct during the public hearings. Now, one thing to note and remember that as an appointed commissioner, you are a public official. So you are, obviously an individual with your associated rights, but you are a public official representing the city of Santa Ana, not necessarily just your own personal views. So when we come into this commission, we want everyone to think about what's in the best interest of the city at large. So commissioner communication procedures, when to approach staff and who do you ask and when. Staff is very open and accommodating. So if you ever have any questions about a particular project or any items related to the commission, I know you can always reach out to me. Judson's always very open about welcoming comments or questions. Bianca as well can help you out with any of the details regarding the meeting. So please feel free, at any time. If you do have questions about an item that's on the agenda or a project that's coming up, it's helpful if you can get us those questions before the meeting. Give us an opportunity. It might be something that we kind of have to look into a little bit, and it'd be helpful to have that little bit of time so that we can get the right answer at the time of the meeting. Of course, if the opportunity doesn't arise and it's at the time of the meeting, that's fine too. We just might not be able to get you the answer during the meeting. We might have to say, we'll look into that and we can get back to you as soon as we can. During the meeting, there's we do our best to we don't want to make it too formal, but in order to keep the meeting moving smoothly, we do try to follow those Roberts rules and the decorum where the chair or vice chair will call on members so that one person will be speaking at a time. So we try to make it so that everyone has an opportunity to speak on an item before somebody jumps back in. So if you want to respond to somebody else's comments, you maybe already spoke, kind of wait till everyone has a turn, and then jump back in with another comment. All the members, have equal rights to comments. So it doesn't matter if, a certain project might be in your ward or anything like that. I mean, it's certainly helpful. It's something that's a little closer to where you are, but everyone has the same rights to make comments on any particular project. And then also, this doesn't necessarily apply when we're on Zoom, but when we're in council chambers, we ask that you refrain from any kind of side discussions with fellow commissioners during the meeting. The purpose of the open and public meeting is that really everyone is engaging and the public can hear everyone's thoughts and see what's going on. So we don't really want any side conversations that aren't part of the meeting, because we want to make sure that everyone is engaged and understanding what people's thoughts are. Relationship with staff. So the city staff works with the commission, but we're all accountable to the city manager. So it's while you are commissioners, it's not necessarily where the commissioners direct staff in terms of what's put on the agenda or how to handle an item. Really, this commission is about staff bringing the intentions of the city manager and the city to the commission for the commission's consideration. So If there are recommendations that you think you want to kind of see something brought to the commission, or you think a particular project is, should be considered by your commission, it might be something to discuss with your city council member, and then that can kind of be brought up to that city council member and then to the city manager, and that the direction can kind of flow that way, rather than commissioners kind of directing staff on how to do certain things. And then the relationship of the Community Development Commission to City Council. So you serve a very important role for City Council in that the commission acts as an advisor to the City Council. So you kind of take a first look at these projects, you hash out a lot of the issues that may be there, and then you give a recommendation or advice to the City Council. So while you don't take any final actions, that information that you pass on to City Council is very important for them to make their final decision. But at the end of the day, it is the City Council that will make the final decision on projects and on certain issues. So social media. This is one, I mean, it's been, several years now where social media has been kind of growing, but the law is always extremely slow to respond to things. And we're starting to see more and more laws and court rulings in this area regarding social media. But generally, you serve as a commissioner, even when you're both in this meeting and when you're just acting outside this meeting. So anything you post on social media while you are your own individual, you still represent the city as a commissioner. So if you are to talk about any projects or make comments on social media about any particular projects, that is a reflection of your duties as a commissioner. So you need to be very careful with the things that you are posting because they are public records. They are basically, that's you speaking on behalf of the city at that point. And so we ask that you really limit that. And there's some, a little further into the presentation, we'll talk about some of the issues that can come up when you do that as well, because you start getting into a situation where you may be interacting on social media with commissioners, and there could be potential Brown Act violations when you might not even realize it. So we're not telling you to stay off of social media necessarily. We know it's a very important platform, but you do have to understand that, even when you think you're serving it, you're just your individual self on social media, you're still representing the city as a commissioner in all of your social media activity. Let's see. So again, the line between public and private is blurred there. We do have new rules, laws, and court rulings that are coming out to clarify this area a bit, but still, just to be on the side of caution, it is best to, anytime you're talking about commission activity, to just realize that, this is as if you were, saying it during the middle of a commission meeting. So getting into a little more broader definition of meetings. Obviously right now we are in the middle of a Community Development Commission meeting. It was noticed. We have a quorum, which is over a majority of the commission members present. So this is the clear-cut definition of what a meeting is. But really the definition includes any gathering of the majority of the members to hear or discuss any item of city business or potential city business. So it could actually happen even outside of, this Zoom, or if we were in council chambers, outside of council chambers. But the meetings for Brown Act purposes require public notice, an agenda, and a time for public comment. And so that's why we have to avoid those situations where you may run into some people at another event or another meeting, and if you all of a sudden you see there's 4 of you together. If you were to start talking about any matters that relate to this commission, that would technically be a Brown Act violation, because you would be holding a meeting without having had a notice, an agenda, or an opportunity for the public to participate or comment. So there are some exceptions to the gatherings of commissioners outside of noticed meetings, but for the most part, if there's 4 of you present, you start talking about any commission items, it's going to be a meeting that requires public notice, agenda, and public opportunity to speak under the Brown Act. So again, just kind of expand on that a little bit. It's not just limited to face-to-face gatherings. Kind of what we're doing right now. It's not technically face-to-face. We're all in front of computer screens or whatever device. Now this is actually kind of a unique situation that we're in right now. Obviously, we all realize that, but these types of meetings over Zoom are not technically allowed under the Brown Act, but due to the pandemic, the governor, about a year ago signed an executive order that would allow public meetings to continue in this fashion without having to comply with those in person and in a public location type of meetings. So right now we are actually able to hold this meeting through Zoom due to the governor's executive order due to the pandemic. So that we don't know how long that will continue, but as long as the emergency orders are in place, we can continue to host meetings like this. And actually, I think there's been some real positive feedback to having meetings like this and having the public be able to join in through Zoom and other online means. That there's actually a few different bills right now up in Sacramento that they're kind of pushing to add this into the Brown Act, where Zoom and online meetings might be something that we continue to do into the future. But for right now, the authority is just under the emergency orders of the governor. So again, let's see, the Brown Act requires local government business be conducted at open and public meetings. It applies to governing body of a local agency, which is the city council, and any commissions, committees, or boards are created by formal action of the city council, which that includes this Community Development Commission. And one caveat there is that it does not apply to ad hoc meetings with less than a quorum. So there's two different types of kind of smaller committees that can be created by commissions. There are ad hoc committees, which are basically a small group of less than a quorum of the commissioners that are appointed by the chair to kind of hold meetings and have discussion on a particular topic, or not even a particular topic, a particular project that would be, has a short amount of time. There's a clear end date when those meetings are over, and something to report back to the commission. So those ad hoc committees are exempt from the public meeting requirements. But then there's also standing committees, and you'll see the city council has some of these as well, where they're more broad issue committees, and there'll be less than a full quorum of the council members. I believe there's 3 on all of them. There might be less, but less than a quorum. And they're meetings that will be a general, like the economic committee, where any items that might relate to finances or economic issues will be brought to that standing committee. And those committees do have to follow the Brown Act, where it has to be a noticed meeting with an opportunity for the public to participate. I was one slide ahead of myself there. So there's the explanation of the standing committees and the ad hoc committees. So getting into some of those exceptions to these meeting requirements, it does not apply. The Brown Act requirements do not apply to individual contacts between a member of the body and any other person. So if you had, you're talking to a constituent about a particular project, or the developer might contact you, that's okay. Talking to staff members about a project, that's okay. But you have to be careful, because those individual contacts can't be used to kind of pass information along about what all the different commissioners are thinking about a project. So, if Commissioner Martinez talks to Commissioner Torres, and they kind of reveal to each other what they think about a particular project, and then Commissioner Torres calls Commissioner Lee and says, "Hey, here's what Commissioner Martinez is thinking. What are you thinking?" All of a sudden, you're getting into an area where you have a serial meeting, where you're even though you're not all together talking about it, because that information is being shared, you are pushing up to the line of a potential Brown Act violation. So under the Brown Act, majority of members of the legislative body shall not, outside a meeting, use a series of communications of any kind, directly or through intermediaries, to discuss, deliberate, or take action on any item of business that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body. It may not develop into a collective concurrence. And so, the example I gave there where, you're calling each other, that's a pretty overt action. But going back to the discussion on social media, that's where you can have this issue arise as well, where you might post something where you talk about, your thoughts or ideas on a particular project. Another commissioner may see it, may comment on it, then all of a sudden you're having that serial meeting through social media when you didn't even realize you two were interacting. So that's why you have to be really careful, with any conversations you may be having or any social media interactions you may have. So the problem with these serial meetings is that they deprive the public of an opportunity to observe and participate in decision making. So that's why they are prohibited. So we've been talking about the daisy chain kind of interaction where it's, A to B, B to C. But there's also the hub and spoke sequence where you can basically have one person who contacts, all the different commissioners on their own and kind of gathers that information to themselves. And, all the other commissioners might not know about it, but that one commissioner has gathered up all that information. So that's another way that you can have a serial meeting that, would be a Brown Act violation. So again, just hammering this point away, we want to avoid those serial meetings. Direct your contacts about city business with direct contacts about city business with fellow members are the clearest means by which a serial meeting can occur. One participant discloses the views of the other participant to the third or fourth member. Serial meeting results. Best way to avoid this is just to not discuss agency business with the other commissioners. Wait, save it for the meeting. During these notice meetings is the time to get your ideas out and to share, all your ideas about projects so they can be open. The public knows what you're talking about. Public knows what all the commissioners are hearing, and this is the time to get that information out. So communications with staff in serial meetings. So members of the body, the commissioners, may consult with city staff outside of a meeting for questions or information about a matter. That's okay. That's not going to lead to a serial meeting. But staff and the commissioners need to be very careful not to disclose comments or position of any other members. So the staff will work with you, answer your questions, send anything, get you the information you need, but they know not to let you know, oh, the other commissioner was asking a question about this and here's what their thoughts are. We all know not to do that. And so you need to do the same and, not tell staff, oh, hey, I was talking to the other commissioner and they told me this. So just make sure to not share any of that information. Let's see, other Brown Act exceptions from the public meeting requirements. Seminars and conferences that are open to the public and general interest. You might find that all of you end up at some housing conference. That is allowed. The key is that you just can't be conversing with each other about city business. So you can all be there and you can all be listening to the conference. That's okay. Community meetings are open public. That's fine. Meetings of other legislative bodies, if you all show up at the city council meetings, not a problem. Social or ceremonial occasions, again, if you all happen to be there because it's just an open and public meeting, that's perfectly fine.
I have a question.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Commissioner Lee.
Would it be possible if I do the event itself for housing, related to housing, but we're not discussing any of the city business? For example, if I have an event on how to build ADU for the people of Santa Ana, would that be a mix-up interest?
So you're the one actually giving the presentation?
Yes, so doing the presentation, how to be an ADU in Santa Ana. Would that be a problem?
That's an interesting one. That should not be a problem because this commission actually won't be hearing any items on accessory dwelling units. I think if there was anything, it'd go to the planning commission. Even then, as long as you're not talking about a specific project within Santa Ana, you're not saying, hey, about 123 Main Street, whatever it is, you're just talking generally, that should be fine. And what I would say though, if you do have a seminar like that and some of the other commissioners are there, I would just say that the best practice would be for the other commissioners to just be there to listen, to not ask questions, not necessarily interact. I'm sure you could ask questions and interact on non-city topics, but the best way to avoid any potential problems is to just not have any kind of interactions or communications during those kinds of events.
Or even the event, if the one I create myself, I'm the one that hosted it.
Oh, if you're hosting, yeah, you can speak to everyone else. That's fine. But if the commissioners who are there listening or viewing it, they should probably refrain from, asking questions or, getting up to, discuss anything with you.
Got it. Thank you.
So again, that's down here to the caveat is that if a majority of the commissioners are present at any of these activities or these gatherings, they cannot discuss any items of city business or else the meeting will resolve. So the best way to, make sure you don't start talking about, city business is to just not have any discussions or conversations at all, really. So now changing gears here and kind of getting into more the procedures for the meetings. This is just the basic standard format for discussing agenda items during the meeting. This isn't a set in stone kind of procedure, but this is generally how items are presented, and the chair will have this in their script, about how to go through items. So first, the chair will announce the agenda item, clearly state the subject that's to be discussed. Then the chair will invite a presentation of the staff report on the item, including any recommended actions from staff. Then the chair will ask the commissioners if they have any questions on the item for clarification purposes while staff is up there giving the presentation. Then after that's done, the chair will open the item up for public comment. So if any members of the public have any comments they want to make regarding the item, they would have their opportunity at that time. Then the chair would bring it back to the commission to invite a motion on the item and announce the name of the commissioner making the motion. Then the chair will invite a second to the motion, because in order to move forward, you need both that first motion and somebody who will second that motion. And so the chair will invite the second and announce the name of the commissioner who seconded it. After the motion is made and seconded, the chair will repeat the motion and ask the maker of the motion, or ask the commission secretary or the commissioner making the motion to repeat it. Then the chair will invite discussion on the motion. That's where all the commissioners will be able to add their insights and and their thoughts on the project. If there's a lengthy discussion, the chair should then repeat the motion at the end or sometime in the middle to make sure everyone is kind of understanding what the proposal is and make sure everyone is staying on topic. Then once all of that discussion is done, the chair will ask for a vote on the item. When the commission is meeting in chambers, we're able to just do kind of a general vote and say aye, no, or abstain. However, when we're doing the Zoom meetings like we are, we do have to do a roll call vote where, there's, every commissioner's name is announced and they will announce their vote. Then at the end, the chair or the commission secretary will announce the result of the vote and what action, if any, the commission has recommended to be taken by city council as the item moves up. There's also the ability to amend motions. So if there is a motion that's on the floor, commissioners can say that they would like to make a motion to amend it, a second motion, That would also require a second as well. And then that motion, if seconded, would take precedence, and that would be the motion that is then discussed and considered and voted on. If that amended motion fails, it would then go back to the original motion that was presented. Let's see. Then there's also motions to reconsider. So if after the fact, if after the item's already been discussed and there's a motion that's been approved, a commissioner who was part of the prevailing vote on that motion can raise a motion for consideration. This is very unlikely to happen in our commission. This is something that you maybe see sometimes at city council if new information is presented, or something comes up after the fact. Then one of those commissioners or council members who is on the majority side, who voted in favor of something, might make a motion for reconsideration and then present that new information for all the commissioners or council members to think about, and then to vote on the matter again. So public participation. So the Brown Act requires two types of public comment periods. As you notice with our meetings, even today, there is a general public comment period during which the public may join in and make any comments on non-agenda items. They should still be related to the jurisdiction of the commission, but really it's an open forum for the public to make their comments. Then there's also a second public comment period that is specific to the agenda items that are presented. So then members of the public are able to get up and make their comments about any particular item that is being presented to the commission at that time. Let's see, so discussion of non-agenda items. Commission members may briefly respond to public comments or questions and provide a referral to staff or other resources. Typically, we don't recommend that. Usually, if somebody has a public comment, it's really just for, listening purposes only. We don't recommend, and in our commission, it's much, it's not as formal. So this can happen a little more easily for, a little bit of a discussion to happen with somebody who's making a non-agenda public comment. But the problem is that whatever they're commenting on isn't on the agenda. So we can't have too much discussion about it because the other members of the public didn't know that there might be some kind of discussion on that item. So that's why during the non-agenda public comments, it's more about just listening to what somebody has to say. But a brief response or telling somebody to check in with staff on that item is perfectly acceptable. Commission members may also ask questions for clarification on non-agenda items. You might see this during after staff comments. Oftentimes commissioners might have quick questions about what staff was presenting. It's okay to have a few quick questions at that time, but really if it's going to turn into any more of a conversation, staff needs to put it on a future agenda and bring it back for that further conversation. Then during commissioner comments at the end of meetings, members are able to report on their own activities, what you've been up to, or anything that may be coming up, on the schedule that you want people to be aware of. Those are items that aren't listed on the agenda, but it's perfectly acceptable for you to talk about during your member comment time. And then commission members may also request staff to report back on matters or issues at a future date. The courtesy and decorum, all of you are great. This is not an issue with this commission whatsoever, but we always have to remember that one person has the floor at a time. The chair is the person who first recognizes each speaker. The discussion needs to focus on the agenda item, on the project, not on any personal or personalities or personal attacks or anything like that. We're just focused on talking about the project. And the chair has the right to cut off a discussion that may get too personal, too loud, too rude, too out of control at any time. Again, I've never seen that with this commission. So you're all perfectly fine, but it's just something that we all need to be aware of. And then, we just ask that everyone maintain civility in the meetings like you do. No attacking anyone else or questioning the motives of other members, or try to limit any kind of misunderstandings between commission members. Make sure you get all the facts, use fair process, listen with an open mind, and focus on the discussion of the agenda item. Make sure you're being attentive during the meeting. So otherwise, again, last pointers and tips here, just make sure to not engage in two-way dialogue with members of the public, because we could get in an area where we're kind of also starting into a discussion on items that might not be on the agenda. Do your best to prepare in advance of the meeting by reviewing the agenda and staff reports. And any specific questions or concerns, please contact staff prior to the meeting if possible, so that we can prepare to address any questions you may have at the meeting. So otherwise, thank you. Hope this was a helpful presentation. Congratulations to all of you for serving as commissioners. And again, feel free to reach out to any of us with any questions or comments you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Chairman Santana, did you want to resume the script? Do you want me to take?
No, please, you're doing a great job. Please continue.
Thank you. All right. So does staff have any comments they wish to share with the commission?
Thank you, Vice Chair Torres. I have a couple comments here. The first is that our commission meetings currently conflict with the commission meetings that are held by our Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. The Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission meets at 5:30, and our commission meets at 4:30. And when we run over, we run into the other commission because we're both using the same Zoom account. We did discuss this matter with our clerk of the council and evaluated whether or not to create 2 Zoom accounts. But the complexity lies in the fact that the city's Zoom account is linked to the YouTube page, which is linked to allowing the members of the public to watch the meeting. And so it's not possible to use multiple Zoom accounts for commission meetings. So what our clerk of the council proposed was to change either the meeting date and time or the meeting time. And so in discussing with the executive director of Parks and Recreation, we decided to change the times of our meetings, we decided to propose to change the times of our meetings. Each of us from where our Community Development Commission would start at 4 p.m. and their Parks and Recreation Community Services Commission would start at 6 p.m. They were amenable to that. And so I'm bringing forward to the commission to not as an official action item today, but more to check to see if everybody would be available if we were to temporarily change the commission meeting times to 4 p.m. We would likely do this because it's a temporary change. I'm not too interested in changing our bylaws, so we would likely do special meetings every time. So it would be a special meeting at 4 p.m. and a special meeting next over the next 4 to 6 months while we're still doing Zoom meetings. And I just want to make sure the 4 p.m. time works with you, and then we'll evaluate whether or not we need to actually change our bylaws for this temporary change in our meeting time. Does the 4 p.m. time work with everybody's schedule?
Yeah, work with me.
Mr. Chairman? Okay.
Temporary 4 p.m. works for me due to work conflicts.
It does work for you?
It does temporary if it's temporary.
Okay, great. All right, we will go back with that information and determine whether or not we need to bring forward an action item at our next commission meeting to amend our bylaws for this temporary change. But we are looking for this to just be a temporary change while we're meeting via Zoom before we start meeting in person again. And then the only other thing I wanted to report out on is I already mentioned our student commissioner, so I'm not going to report out on that. And I provided an update on our student commissioner. Bianca, can you give us a status update on our two tenant commissioners? Have Commissioner Frazier and Commissioner
Vasquez.
have they reached out to you recently?
Commissioner Frazier did attended the last meetings. I didn't hear from him for this meeting, and Commissioner Vasquez said that he was planning on attending, but something must have happened that he was unable to. But he said that he was planning to be present.
Okay, great.
And the other two commissioners, Commissioner Afusia and Commissioner Covington, I still have not been able to get a hold of them because they haven't been able to attend any meetings.
Okay, great. Okay, so more to come on our student commissioner. We have worked very hard since about 2017 or 2018 to ensure we have a full commission at all times. So we want to be very diligent that we ensure we have a full commissioner at all times with all seats appointed by City Council, including our tenant commissioner seats and our student commissioner seat. And then lastly, I just want to report out on some of our affordable housing projects. Two of our projects are breaking ground and starting construction this spring. So our Legacy Square project is located at 609 North Spurgeon Street. The developer is National Community Renaissance with Mercy House as the service provider. And this project is a new construction project which consists of 93 units of affordable housing, of which 33 units will be designated for permanent supportive housing. This commission actually recommended to City Council back in December 2018 to award $3.1 million for the development of this project, together with 8 project-based vouchers. The project closed on their financing at the end of this. Actually, I'm sorry. They closed on their financing at the end of January, and so the project is now under construction. Because of due to COVID restrictions, they have not held a ribbon grand. What is it called? Not a grand opening, a ribbon cutting ceremony. A ribbon cutting ceremony for the groundbreaking. A groundbreaking ceremony. I'm sorry, groundbreaking ceremony. If they do hold one, you of course would be invited as dignitaries. And I'll also, just a side note on this project, the $3.1 million that the commission recommended for approval by City Council in December 2018, the loan documents for the project went to City Council in December, just this past December 2020. And because of a provision in the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 regarding the tax credit rate, the project actually was able to generate more tax credit equity and decline our $3.1 million at the very end. If you recall, the Consolidated Appropriations Act was approved on December 27th, and we had brought our loan documents to City Council on December 15th, so like 2 weeks before. And then because of the act, they were able to decline the funds because of new tax credit equity. So those funds did return to our inclusionary housing funds, and we do anticipate making those available for other projects. And then our North Harbor Village project is an 89-unit motel conversion project, motel rehabilitation project being developed by Jamboree Housing Corporation. The project is located at 1108 North Harbor Boulevard. And in December 2018, the commission recommended an award of 89 project-based vouchers and $1.6 million in community development block grant funds. The developer has now secured all of their financing and is closing on their financing next Tuesday, and they will be breaking ground there immediately thereafter on the project. Again, if they hold a ribbon cutting ceremony for the groundbreaking, we will extend that invitation to the commission to attend. Besides those two project updates, our staff don't have any additional comments.
Thank you very much. Moving along, commission members, please note, well, it is now time for commission member comments. Please note that no member may speak more than once until all have had an opportunity to speak. Also, the commission may vote to limit our comments to 3 minutes each if we feel the need. Any comments?
Hi, guys. I guess I'll go, Vice Chair. First, want to welcome Commissioner Miss Olivia to the commission. We are very excited to see you here with us. I know there's a lot of projects in the pipeline, and I'm sure with your knowledge and expertise, and you've served in various commissions in the past, you'll be an asset to our commission. I want to welcome you for being here. Second of all, I have a couple concerns for staff. I want to see if we can do, Miss Bianca, we can do an attendance roll sheet, see what the attendance has been the past couple of meetings. I know we just started, but with these two commissioners that have not responded, I want to make sure that we either reach out to the council appointee so we know that they can at least show interest or not show interest, so we can get those seats vacated and get other commissioners in. I'm still concerned about our senior commissioner. Last time we've heard it was a connection issue, right? Connectivity issue. So if we need to get him a hotspot, let's get him a hotspot, or the equipment to do so. It would be good to have participation, especially since he is a senior and he serves a big senior population here in Santa Ana. And then lastly, this one's for Mr. Hodge, is have we made any announcements on funding for the emergency housing or for the rental relief? Can you provide an update on that?
Yeah, I'll actually defer to Judson on that one. I know he has a lot of information, has been working really hard on that program.
Thank you.
Of course, yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to actually share my screen here. Oh, you know what? Well, Bianca, can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, give me 1 second. 1 second. Hold on. Okay.
Okay,
I made you co-host, yeah.
Okay, great. Mr. Chairman, if you could see this, can you see this email here? Okay, so on March 12th, we relaunched our Cares for Tenants program to provide $5,500 in emergency rental relief for families impacted by the pandemic. This program was already in existence, had already been in existence since May, but we have now relaunched it, and we have actually been actively accepting applications to the program since August 17th. But we have relaunched our marketing efforts. We revised our webpage, our program guidelines, our frequently asked questions, our a couple new forms to comply with this new source of funding that we're using. But we have $9.8 million available to expend for families impacted by the pandemic, and we're providing up to $5,500 to each family. We held a workshop last week, and we also have another workshop tonight, and then another workshop next Wednesday. And you see here, we did include our Vietnamese flyer in this workshop Q&A nixle that we published on Monday announcing the workshop for tonight. And if you're interested, the workshop starts at 7 p.m. We're going to have a Spanish and Vietnamese translator there with us. And then the same with our workshop next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. after regular working hours, so that as many people as possible can attend. But since launching the opening the application on August 17th, we've had several over 1,000 applicants apply, and we do have for those families that have already received assistance in the amount of $3,000, we are recertifying those families, and they will be recertified through the Salvation Army and Catholic Charities for an additional $2,500, so that they get the full $5,500 benefit. So far, since launching the program on March 12th, one of our 4 providers just reported out today that our first family has been approved for a payment of $5,500.
That's amazing, Mr. Brown. I'm glad that we have an additional $9.8 million in funding for a maximum cap of $5,500. My question is, folks who have been applying for about a month or 2 months ago, they're still kind of left in the dark. And there's this confusion of this lottery system, first come, first serve. And then the landlords, they don't participate in these 7 p.m. Zoom meetings. And there's nothing that they can tell them to, hey, be patient. I've actually submitted a hardship with the city. I'm trying to get this grant, and it's not confirmed yet. And folks have been emailing, the Salvation Army and whoever else is helping with the processing. There has to be a better way that the city can reach out to these tenants or give them an update. I mean, this is good to inform folks on how to apply, but for those who've applied are still in the dark and have not heard back. And so we have to do something so that it gives them a little bit of ease, because they've lost their jobs. Unemployment has been really rough to get even qualified. It's such a setback. So if we can do something to work with the to get this out, I mean, I think it's something simple that we can put out to the city that tells people, hey, be patient. Or I know that there's a portal they log on to, which is, what's the website that they use? My Neighbors, is that what it's called?
Nixle?
No, when they first apply, Neighborly.
Yeah. The portal is called Neighborly.
Neighborly. So a text message or an email or something in that portal where folks can check in and say, hey, because what you're saying is great, but they're not going to be at the 7 p.m. call trying to figure this out. So just as something that is like a quick bullet point that lets them know, look, we have additional funds. For those who receive the first time funds, you're going to get a second funds. I'm sure you guys are thinking all this, but it's just a lot of stress for folks who are behind on rent. And this would be something good that you can help relax and ease those tenants who have applied for these grants. That's it. Thank you. If Ms. Vice Chair, do you want to continue on? If anyone else thinks.
Thank you, Chairman. Any other comments from the commissioners?
I just wanted to chime in and say thank you so much for allowing me to be a commissioner on this new committee. I'm excited to work with all of you and to make some positive change.
Thank you, Commissioner Oliva, and welcome once again. Any other comments?
Yeah, I also wanted to welcome Commissioner Oliva. I'm new to this, so I'm excited for you to come in with all your knowledge in commission meetings. And I also wanted to thank staff for the training. It was super informational. So thank you for your time and for putting it together.
Yeah. Well, hi, Jennifer. Just want to say welcome to the team.
Okay, I too want to thank Ryan and Judson for both of the updates provided and information. Can we get, is it possible, Ryan, to get the PowerPoint sent to all commissioners?
Absolutely. I will forward that over to Bianca, and then she'll be able to distribute that to all of you.
Thank you very much. If there are no other comments from commissioners? Okay, so if not, this meeting is adjourned. The next regular meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, April 28th at, is it still 4:30?
Yes, so the next meeting we'll schedule for 4 o'clock.
Oops. So the next meeting will be held April 28th at 4:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.